I think we're live. Is my audio good? Yeah, baby. Let me up it just a little bit. Better? Better? Check, check. Checkity, check, check. I'm going to bring it down just slightly, just in case. All right. How's everybody doing? Howdy. All right, we're live, baby. Yeah. It seems like it's been longer than a week, but it has been a week. How's the weather with everybody, man? Here in the Midwest, it sucks, at least here in Ohio. I don't know if it's the entire Midwest. It's either scalding hot or raining or a combo of rain and scalding hot. So just everything sucks. But I will say, when it's not raining, that makes for excellent swimming weather. So that's been fun. Getting a few things queued up here. All right. Hey, buddy. Let's get right into the shenanigans today, shall we? Today, my friends, we're going to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Not for real, thank God, but, virtually. For WWE Night of Champions 2025. After weeks of the internet wrestling community just caterwauling and losing their crap about WWE needing to cancel the show because of conflicts in the Middle East, it went perfectly fine, and everybody was crying for nothing, as always. We've got a new King and Queen of the Ring. Attitude Era finishes are back, and I'll be discussing the latest news about Liv Morgan's injury, her alleged stalker, a big return for Survivor Series, a legend undergoing surgery, another legend being cancer-free, and an historic landmark for AEW. But this is the main event, Mark's podcast. Let's get into it.
This is the main event.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? I don't think... Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I did everything right. Yay me. Okay, I do not have a producer, obviously, so this sometimes goes a little off the rails. We're going to start the official podcast here soon, but I like to let everybody kind of file in, get the stream started and all that, get the links posted on social media. I will let everybody know I have a video coming out probably either tomorrow or Friday, where it's probably going to be Friday. I'll post something where I call it the Dark Side of Wrestling History. I talked about it last week on the podcast. If you listened, I gave my ideas about future episodes. Some of them, there's one in particular on Pat Patterson I talk about, I think would actually make for a great episode of Dark Side of the Ring, because the more I dug into the research, the more I was like, my gosh, like you really gotta hear this part of the video. But I talk about Jack Pfeffer, talk about the Goldust Trio falling apart. If you don't know who they are, you'll know after the video. I talk about Mitsuharu Misawa leaving All Japan Pro Wrestling when they were still, like, AJPW was still, like, the top promotion in Japan. And he took 3 out of the 4 pillars of heaven, they called them. It was him, Kenta Kobashi, and Akira Tao. They were going to take Toshiaki Kawada, but at the last minute he got cold feet and decided... he's a very loyal person. I can't put him down for that. It held him back a bit in his career, but he was very loyal to All Japan. He was very loyal to the Babas, so he stayed in All Japan. But the other 3 went and formed Pro Wrestling Noah. I talk about that and kind of, his untimely passing, Mizawa's that is. We'll talk about all. I talk about all that in the video. And who else was it? I know. I think I'm missing somebody. There was no. Okay, so that was everybody, and then Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson's the longest section of the video. Mizawa and the Noah thing, I do a decent amount of time on it, but the Pat Patterson stuff is there's a lot. like I said, the more I started digging in, because I thought it was just a Ring Boy scandal of 92, and then his longtime partner died. I knew that in 98 at a younger age. I thought that was it, other than, him being openly gay in the wrestling industry during the territory days when they might not have been super fond of that, even though he was in California, which was a tad more okay with it. But altogether, the country just wasn't okay with it back then. And there's a section from the 60s where the federal government's trying to deport him literally for being gay. And they pull him in for like a hearing. And they basically has anybody seen that video of, it was like a newscast out of somewhere in Africa. And it's very famous. But they basically do this meme on Pat Patterson, but like much more seriously. In the 1960s, they pull him in for like a deportation hearing, and the U.S. government's basically like, "Why are you gay? You are gay," and do that whole thing on him, and then they deport him back to Canada. So it's obviously he came back and he became a citizen in 94. I don't remember. Or it might have been later than that. I have it in the video. He became a U.S. citizen at some point, but either way, it was a lot. There's a lot more to dig into. I think Dark Side of the Ring would have just a whole slew of stuff to talk about if they did Pat Patterson. But I covered that in the video. I kind of give in less than 2 minutes for everybody, and I kind of compile it all together into one long video. I'm going to try to do more in the future, but we'll see how it goes. That video should be coming, like I said, probably Friday. I'll post it. But either way, let's start the actual podcast here, because there is a lot of news out and a lot of stuff to talk about. I will say I am working, kind of doing some stuff. I might get some, a very important work call. If I do, you all will actually get an early view of that video, because I have it pulled up in queue, just so you're not sitting here looking at nothing if I get an important phone call. So I'll put that on for you if I have to take a break. But either way, let's get into the actual podcast here, shall we? This is the main event, Mark's Podcast. I'm your host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat and dog dad, and I'm still trying to figure out if CM Punk's apology tour is the most unexpected storyline of 2025 or just good PR. I am Troy, and it is July, baby. We are in America's birthday month. I know everybody outside of America doesn't really care. There are certain people in America that don't care either, but I do, as you can see by the hat. Very serious. I'm going to go see fireworks this weekend if all things go right and the weather cooperates for once. I'm looking forward to it. I love July. I have always loved July, and it's a big movie month. We got it's Superman. We got the new Jurassic World, whatever. We got Fantastic Four. There's a lot coming out this month that I am excited for. June was kind of a bust. I know they had Elio. I'm probably going to do a video on that for Marks on Media. If anybody checks out Marks on Media and any of that, I cover for any of you that get into media. I talk about TV, movies, video games, anime, whatever. On my Marks on Media playlist and whatever. I have a special channel on Rumble. It is separate from the main event Marks, but if you watch on YouTube, everything is in its own playlist. So check that out. I'm actually going to pin this real quick on X while I'm thinking about it, just so everybody can go check out the pod while we are live. Also, this goes up as a VOD later on, so you can check it out there. And for everybody who would rather listen than watch, you could always check us out on Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, whatever the F. You can hear us anywhere and everywhere. There has been a lot of big pro wrestling going on, and there is a ton coming up. My God, this weekend, not so much. Next weekend, though, just slammed. And I'm trying to figure out, because I've been wanting to cover the latest big event on the podcast. And obviously a couple of weeks ago, I covered two events where I did what was it? Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank, both on the same show. We covered them pretty well, plus some news. But I'm trying to figure out how to do this in a couple of weeks. There is so much wrestling to watch because next weekend, not this weekend coming up, the holiday weekend, but the weekend after, we've got on July 11th, there's Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 2025. Probably going to skip that because I haven't watched Ring of Honor in years. I don't know if I care. Another one I'm probably going to skip, but I'll watch like highlights of it. NXT Great American Bash 2025 in Atlanta. The ATL. That one, like I said, I'll probably watch highlights. I don't really watch the NXT very much anymore. But we've got Saturday night's main event. What's XL? Is that 40? I think XL is 40, if I remember correctly. But the namesake for this whole show, Saturday night's main event, you can hear by the opening, I kind of use a version, like a sped-up version of the theme song for that show. So I'll definitely watch that because that's supposedly Goldberg's last match. We'll see, though. Him versus Gunta for the World's Heavyweight title. That should be good. AEW All In Texas. That's also happening July 12th, going head-to-head with Saturday night's main event. That should be a good one. I will definitely be watching that, definitely be reviewing that. So I'm probably going to be talking about just those two. But also, July 13th, the very next night, we're not done on Saturday because we got Friday is ROH. Saturday is NXT, followed by Saturday night's main event and All in Texas. And then Sunday, we've got WWE Evolution Dose. So a lot of wrestling coming up in a couple of weeks. I will watch that one in full. But, man, so much coming up. And then July 20th, we've got TNA Slammiversary. That's coming up in a couple of weeks from Elmont, New York. Where the hell is Elmont, New York? It says New York City. So it's obviously like right outside the city. But can any New Yorkers on the stream, can you help me out? Where the hell is Elmont? Anyway, just let me know. They always find the weirdest places to go for TNA. Anyway, so I'm going to have a jam-packed show in about 2 weeks. I'm sure everybody and their mother is going to, but I'm going to give my take as a guy who watches casually from time to time. But, so this show is actually helping me get back into watching more wrestling. Because I stopped there for the longest time. I would watch like WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and that was about it. But we actually have a story coming up about Survivor Series. Some news about Survivor Series that I will cover. But let's get into, speaking of news, let's just get into it because there is a metric butt-ton of news going on from across the wrestling world. Not just in one place, all over. We're going to start with WWE because that's what I'm reviewing today. And I think that's where the biggest stuff is coming out of right now, and the most stuff, honestly, is WWE. I will get to AEW for all you AEW fans out there. I'm not ignoring you. I swear to God. There's just not a lot coming out of AEW that's super newsworthy right now. But, this is my favorite part of the show. So let's it was Greg's too. So let's get into it. Vince McMahon and WWE are trying to block Janelle Grant's legal team from obtaining new documents in her lawsuit, arguing she has not met the legal standard for pre-arbitration discovery and is fishing for unrelated evidence about whether she signed an NDA under duress. WWE's filing claims Grant's requests are an attempt to bypass a court order and start full discovery prematurely, while Grant's team wants emails, NDA drafts, and related communications. Man, I don't really have much of an opinion on that one, and this is like such a hot-button, toxic thing to talk about at all, because everybody... They're the kind that's like, anytime a woman makes any accusation whatsoever, screw her, she's wrong, she's just gold digging and looking for attention. It's the Me Too era crowd, like the ones that were so pissed off about the Me Too era and just like you can't say anything at all ever. Janelle Grant's instantly bad, and they're the ones that kiss Vince McMahon's butt. They're the ones that every time there's a storyline they don't like going on, they're like, oh my God, bring back Vince McMahon. Triple H sucks. It was so much better with Vince and his ridiculous comedy booking for the last couple of years. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't have much of an opinion on this one. This is dirty. Some will say, even if Grant is in the wrong here, that Vince is getting what he deserves after all these years of being an absolute scumbag and cheating on his wife repeatedly. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have much to say about that. Here's a positive story for anybody who gets a little fatigued with marathon watch sessions. WWE SmackDown will return to a 2-hour format starting this Friday, airing from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which would be 5 to 7 Narnia time out there on the West Coast. On the USA Network. The announcement came during this past Friday's broadcast. This week's show was taped during Monday Night Raw in Pittsburgh due to the July 4th holiday. Pretty cool. They get some time off with their family and friends and all that. SmackDown had expanded to 3 hours earlier this year, but is now reverting to 2. See, I missed that earlier in the year. I had no idea. It's bad enough you got one 3-hour program with Raw, but now you got SmackDown as well. Like, personally, I think Raw should go back to 2 hours as well, but Nick Khan was saying, he's like, oh, if we could make it 5 hours, we would, just because you get to jam in all those advertisers. I don't know if it's a little different on Netflix, though, but maybe Netflix is demanding, they're like, no, we need more live programming, more hours, damn it. But anything more than 3 is absolutely insane. I thought anything more than 2 was nuts, but whatever. This is what I brought up earlier with Survivor Series. So, WWE has confirmed Survivor Series 2025 will once again feature War Games matches for the 4th straight year, branded as Survivor Series War Games, taking place at Petco Park in San Diego. That's funny, Petco Park. Anyway, on November 29th, it's first time at an outdoor venue. It's kind of a throwback. If anybody remembers the very first, I mean, we are a retro wrestling podcast here, so the original War Games matches took place on the Great American Bash Tour. Don't ask me what year. I'm bad with years and dates and all that. But the original War Games took place outside because they did a lot of outdoor venues. So it was a long tour, multiple War Games matches, and I think a lot of them were on baseball fields and football fields. So kind of getting back to its roots, if you will. A men's and women's War Games match are planned with Roman Reigns, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and more stars promoted on the poster. That is, they already got the poster out. Tickets go on pre-sale July 9th, and general sales July 11th. So next week, everybody, get your wallets out. But yeah, so that's coming back. Cool. I like War Games. Triple H has proven himself time and time again to be a big NWA mark. Cool. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I like it. But ahead of his first WWE event in Saudi Arabia, CM Punk apologized to Saudi fans for a mean tweet, quote, air quotes, mean tweet he posted in 2020 targeting The Miz, clarifying that he wasn't about Saudi Arabia and expressing gratitude for being welcomed. Or, excuse me, saying that it was not about Saudi Arabia, it was about The Miz specifically. After a fan named Mohammed, I know, shocker, requested the apology at a WWE kickoff event, Punk sincerely apologized and later hugged him. Uncle Dave Meltzer said that was a planted fan, by the way, and it was just for PR, whatever. But the apology drew praise from WWE's Triple H, who commended Punk's maturity. Punk is set to face John Cena at Night of Champions. That already happened, obviously. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So I guess CM Punk stands for Cucked Man Punk now. I guess, I don't know. I will say his stuff, what he said to The Miz, if anybody remembers, blood money covered, or suck a blood money covered, male appendage was what he said to him. Yeah, so, that wasn't about Saudi Arabia at all. The blood money had nothing to do with, going to Saudi. Whatever. It was only about The Miz. I mean, obviously, yes, the man has a hatred for The Miz that cannot be quenched. I don't understand. I really want to know what the burr in the saddle of CM Punk was that The Miz threw out there. Because it's weird. It's like, okay, you don't like The Miz. Whatever. People don't like each other. But what the hell did The Miz do to Punk specifically where he's like, no, F this guy forever and a day? But yeah, either way, he cucked to the Saudi crown prince, and yeah, I don't know. And Triple H is like, oh, I'm very proud of him, whatever, because now we can go make more money over in Saudi Arabia, blah, 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 blah. I will say, out of all the sand countries over there in the Middle East, Saudi is one of the better ones. So maybe the best one. I don't know. It's up there. There are some others that are not so great. Saudi at least lets women have some rights, and they don't house terrible people. At least they try not to. And the as far as like the mentality and the worldview of like people in that region, they're fairly open compared to others. Like I've grown a bit to dislike Saudi Arabia throughout these years. I don't totally hate Saudi Arabia. They and some things they say publicly and then do privately, because they got to keep up appearances with their partners in the region, so they say certain things and then they'll turn around and be like, well, actually, So I don't totally hate that. Is it Mohammed bin Salman, the prince, MBH, or MBS? Excuse me, MBS. He's not a terrible person. The country, like I said, out of all the countries they could be holding events over in that region, that and the United Arab Emirates and Dubai are probably the other two that I can think of. The UAE, Dubai, and Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia actually has modern technology. How about that? Crazy, right? I know. Oh, this one will get a burr in some people's saddle as well, get them hot under the collar. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe will host a non-televised WWE late-night comedy show on August 2nd at the Bergen Performing Arts Center in Englewood, New Jersey. Ugh. Any place named Englewood is usually not good, and I say this as a guy who lives not far from a place named Englewood. Anyway, following night one of SummerSlam weekend, known for his WrestleMania roast, yeah, that's what he's known for specifically, Hinchcliffe will feature top comics, entertainers, and WWE stars. Tickets go on sale June 30th, with general sales starting July 1st. This marks the first two-night SummerSlam event at MetLife Stadium. I actually like MetLife. The fact that they're holding SummerSlam there, kind of cool. I don't know about the two-night event thing. It is what it is. But I can't wait this time. Last time Tony Hinchcliffe hosted that late night, the roast of WrestleMania, the next day on X, there was a list floating around of people, these losers that heard or watched the show, just only did so they could make a list of all the insensitive jokes and comments that people made during the show. Oh my God, they offended this group and that group. In all honesty, nobody was offended. It was just people passing this. Like, I'll say this: nobody there was offended. It was just the losers passing the list around on X. Like, dude, it's a roast. It's always going to be offensive. That's kind of the point. And they're like, oh, you don't have to be racist and sexist and whatever. Like, dude, nobody cared. Nobody cared. And this just goes to show you that X is not real life. Nobody, like, of course the internet wrestling community was passing this list around. My God, did you hear that he said this? Why is he coming to these events? Because obviously they're selling tickets. That's why. If he wasn't selling tickets, they wouldn't invite him back. How about that? That's how things work. I don't know if you knew that. Anyway, WWE's new Netflix docuseries Unreal premieres July 29th with 5 episodes covering big 2025 moments like Raw's Netflix debut, the Royal Rumble, John Cena's heel turn, and WrestleMania 41, plus behind-the-scenes looks at WWE's creative process and stars like CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, and Bianca Belair. Okay, I don't know anything about this show. Don't know if I care. I don't have Netflix, so I will not be watching. You can barely get me to watch the pay-per-views now. I'm definitely not watching new docu-series they got dropping. But good for them. Whatever, more content on Netflix. As Greg and I always used to like to say, more content, pal. But a couple more WWE stories here. So Otis hasn't been seen on WWE TV since his decisive loss to Rusev on May 5th, and it's now confirmed that he's off the active roster due to an elbow injury that will require arthroscopic surgery. Okay. Before his absence, Otis was a regular on Raw and Main Event alongside Alpha Academy teammates Akira Tozawa, and was caught up in a feud with Chad Gable after Gable's heel turn and the group's split. The surgery isn't expected to sideline Otis for too long, but his road to recovery may have bumps ahead. Yeah, arthroscopic surgery, if that's what I think it is, because I think they don't have to cut you open too bad. They just kind of go in and they're able to go in with like smaller instruments or whatever, do less damage that they have to put back together. So I'm pretty sure that's an easier recovery time. Is from what I've heard, and like I said, the story seems to indicate that as well. So these next two stories are more serious. This first one is an injury update here. So Liv Morgan underwent shoulder surgery after injuring herself during a June 16th Raw match against Kairi Sane. Physical therapist Kevin Wilk will assist her with rehab following surgery at Andrews Sports Medicine. Before the injury, plans were for Morgan to face Nikki Bella or team with Raquel Rodriguez against the Bellas at WWE Evolution 2 on July 13th. Yeah, they're going to have to move stuff around for that one. She's no longer tag champion. They have officially recognized Raquel and Roxanne Perez are now the tag team champions. A full Latina tag team champions. There you go. But yeah, so Liv is no longer the tag champ, and so I'm assuming maybe they'll just slip Roxanne into that role against Nikki Bella, Nikki and Brie Bella. Maybe I don't know. Is the Bellas are on the poster for Evolution 2, and they're also Trish Stratus is on the poster too. So Trish might be there. I haven't heard anything about it though. I haven't been keeping up with who's being booked for that, if they've announced anybody. This next one is a lot more serious about Liv Morgan though. This one is effed up. I remember hearing about this one a while ago. So a man accused of stalking Liv Morgan faces up to 5 years in prison after allegedly traveling from Toronto to Orlando. That's a huge drive. Attempting to break into her home with an air rifle and leaving a note. He was arrested near the WWE Performance Center, raising concerns for Morgan's safety, as others have also shown up uninvited at her residence. What the hell? How is she getting doxxed so much? That's crazy. This dude needs just chucked in a cage and have the key thrown away. Like, what was your plan here? That's what I want to know. What was the whole thought process going on? Were you gonna break in, hold her at the airsoft point, and threaten her to be your wife? Like, what's going on? Like, obviously, these people have mental health issues, and they're nuts. They need help. But this was, yeah. And the fact that multiple people are doing this. IWC weirdos. And these are the same people you see posting on X all the time. That's why I said X is not real life, because you got freaks like this that do not matter. Like I said, throw them in a cage, throw away the key. Anyway, this next story is going to kind of transition us into AEW from WWE. I thought this was a good transition piece here. So, Britt Baker's AEW future is uncertain, as Bodyslam.net reports that she'll seek to leave the company. But it won't be easy, since she's still under contract until at least late 2026. Baker, absent from AEW TV since November 2024, fueled rumors with cryptic social media posts about self-worth and a joking vlog comment with Sammy Guevara. While WWE reportedly hasn't talked to her recently, WWE would need to approve any release, AEW would need to approve any release, something that they have rarely granted for top stars. Which brings me back to remember all of those people that always used to cry and whine about WWE talent and, oh my God, let them go, you're holding them ransom, they don't want to be there anymore, just let them go. They should go to AEW and be a big star, but Vince won't let him go because he's a big mean man and he's a big meanie. You remember all that talk? Where's all that same energy for Tony Khan? Because he's literally done that with everyone. Penta, Phoenix, didn't he do some crap? But didn't he hold on to Aleister Black for the longest time? Like, good God, nobody has the same energy for Tony Khan. But whatever. Hey, I would love to see Britt Baker come to WWE. I always thought she had it, and she could be a star. AEW leaned into the dentist thing with a couple of times a little too hard, but I think it's a cool gimmick. She could do something with it. It makes her different. I think she is a good wrestler. She's a good talker. She looks great. She's still pretty young. I don't know exactly how young, but yeah. Let's see. Now I'm kind of curious. Britt Baker age. 34. Whew. Okay, so she's my age. So she's not super young, but she's got a ways, it's not like she's over the hill or anything. I mean, she's got a ways to go, and I think she could make a good name for herself in WWE. Come in, follow the likes of Blake Monroe and Jade Cargill and, whatever. Come on in, Britt. The water is fine. Either way, getting fully into AEW here. With just over 2 weeks ago, AEW All In Texas on July 12th has already set a non-WWE North American record with a $2.5 million gate and 19,000 paid tickets, surpassing last year's Forbidden Door and nearing the largest non-WWE pay-per-view attendance record in North America. You know what? I like to bash on AEW for various things, but honestly, good for them. I want to see full houses for them and WWE. I don't want them to suffer while WWE is up top. I just don't care for most of their product, honestly. I mean, it's nothing personal against them. Like I said, I just don't really care for their product very much. But I don't want them to fail. Greg always was like, oh, they're gonna go out of business. They're gonna fail. Triple H is gonna buy them out. Blah blah blah. Whatever. For some reason, he wanted them to fail all the time, whereas I don't. I want to see them succeed. I want two big time wrestling promotions duking it out back and forth, because that means more top talent is featured. WWE can't feature everybody on top. AEW can't feature everybody on top or, consistently. So it would be nice to see more big-time talent in other areas. getting a big stage, getting some creative freedom here and there. So, AEW announcer and WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross shares positive news post colon cancer surgery, confirming that the cancer is gone and he's feeling good. Ross plans to return at AEW All In Texas on July 12th, praising Tony Khan for his support during recovery. So we should see good old JR back in that commentary seat at All In. Not bad. Good for Jim Ross. Glad to see he's got a clean bill of health. And I've said before, I'm kind of over him as an announcer because he just doesn't have it anymore like he used to. And I feel like he's just there because of his name at this point. But either way, it's good to see he's doing well and he's able to come back, I'll say. But anyway, Keith Lee reassures fans that he's healthy despite his absence from AEW, explaining his return isn't up to him and no fan campaigns are needed. He's been sidelined since late 2023 due to injuries requiring double surgeries and hasn't wrestled in 2024 or 2025. Man, the fact that they're not doing anything with a healthy Keith Lee is also just wow. And if he really is healthy and he's able to go, I want to see him and Samoa Joe go at it, man. That would be great. I don't know if it's already happened in AEW. I'm going to guess not, but I'd like to see it. Man, does anybody out there know anything about, like, I'm not looking for medical advice, but, man, my neck has been so messed up since I went camping this last weekend. I'm going camping again this weekend. Not looking forward to it. My whole back and my neck is just like a wreck, man. And I just went with some heat today. After stream, I'm gonna sit with a massager and just this sucks. Ice, heat, anything else. I'm using Aleve cream on my neck. This blows. Last story out of AEW. Buddy Matthews is recovering slower than expected from a February ankle injury sustained at Grand Slam Australia, delaying his hoped-for April return. The ligament and cartilage damage has limited mobility, threatening chronic issues, but he looks forward to teaming again with his stablemates in 6-person tag matches. I mean, Black is gone. It's just Brody King now, isn't it? So wouldn't it just be him and King? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The story confused me because I'm like, is there a sixth or like a third person I'm missing? Because like I said, I thought it was just Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Aleister Black, or Aleister Black or Malachi Black at the time, and Malachi is back to being Aleister Black in WWE. So isn't House of Black dead? I don't know. I always liked Buddy Matthews. I thought he was great. I thought that he could have been a top guy. I feel like AEW hasn't done enough with him. Yeah, he's done tag stuff and stable stuff or whatever, but that's about it. Like, there needs to be more, in my opinion. Moving on to outside of the big two, GCW will extend its partnership with WWE during SummerSlam weekend by hosting a WWE ID showcase on August 1st at the Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey, as part of JCW Summer Smash. Cool. The event streaming live on Triller Plus. What the hell is Triller Plus? Oh, God. Will showcase talent like Timothy Thatcher, cool, Kylie Ray, and others, continuing the WWE ID Championship tournaments, bro, that began at WrestleMania weekend and highlighting WWE's collaboration with the indie promotion. It still blows my mind that WWE is teaming up with trash GCW that had the Invisible Man wrestling, that is all about death matches, has people like, I'm not even going to tell you his name now, the MDK guy that was a subject, Nick Gage, that's it. It was the subject of a Dark Side of the Ring episode. My least favorite episode in the history of that show, by the way. That dude's a loser, but yeah, they're teaming up with JCW. Like, okay, man, whatever. They used to do stuff with AEW. Now they're all in with WWE, shaking hands. Whatever. So Mike Santana has been added to the TNA World Title match at Slammiversary on July 20th after Santino Marella granted his request, turning Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry into a three-way. Santana aims to become TNA's first Puerto Rican world champion. That's a goal, I guess. Cool. I like Santana. I always thought he was great. I always thought Ortiz was the other member of LAX. I thought they were a cool team, but Santana, when he broke away, he did good stuff. I can't remember who it was. I saw him one time. It was shortly after the breakup, and he was doing his single stuff in AEW for a while. And I was like, man, he looks like somebody else I can't think of now. And I was like, man, he looks good. He looks like you could put him at the top of a card. And I know he pretty much got his start as far as like people knowing who he was in TNA. So this is kind of cool if he can become world champion. That way, Trick Williams doesn't have to play double duty anymore. And Santana can get featured on NXT because, they like to bring over the TNA talents. So, all good stuff, either way. I don't think Joe Hendry's winning it back, but you never know, I guess. Hiroki Goto is sidelined with a right elbow injury sustained during his June 29th IWGP World Championship match, leading to his absence from New Japan Pro Wrestling's July 4th event. Boo! Goto lost the title back to Zack Sabre Jr. after a hard-fought match, ending his 138-day reign. Man, I like Goto. I know that I don't know what it is with him. A lot of people who watch New Japan do not like Goto. Like, I don't know if that's just an IWC thing. He seems to get good reactions from crowds in Japan, so it's a very online thing. I argued about this with Kyle from the Apron Bump podcast. Go check him out at Apron Bump on X. Make sure I'm telling you right there, at Apron Bump. Yep, at Apron Bump. That's all it is. But good. He's a good dude, funny dude, great podcast. Go check him out wherever you get podcasts. He's also on YouTube, so you can check him out on there. But we argued about that. He cannot stand Goto, thinks he's boring and whatever. I always thought he was great. I always looked forward to his matches. Not the biggest personality in the world, but that's kind of a Japanese thing. Like, a lot of their wrestlers aren't like big time personalities, but I don't know. Glad he got the belt, but at the same time, sucks he's injured, man. Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. Somebody else who's pretty injured right now. This is Ric Flair revealed that he's having surgery soon and asked for prayers, sharing that he's dealing with health issues, including a recent melanoma diagnosis. He stressed the importance of prioritizing his health for years after years of neglecting it. Yeah, Ric Flair just beat his body to hell in more ways than one. Taking care of himself physically was never a priority for Ric Flair, it seems like. Yeah, he worked out and whatever, he was in good shape, but like, there's more to it than that, man. He drank like a fish. I don't think he did other illicit substances. I really don't know, but he drank alcohol like it was going out of business. He just took crazy bumps all the time. Some of the stuff wasn't his fault, like he got into a plane crash and whatever and broke his back. But yeah, and then he's just lived a hard life, and then not to mention that he's got a body count like you couldn't believe, something up there like Bonnie Blue. But yeah, he's not in good shape. He was showing looks like his stomach is stapled together or something. Ugh. I had to see the picture on X when I was scrolling through. I'm like, oh God. he's not in good shape. Prayers up for Ric Flair and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like it's hard. I made this joke a couple of weeks ago when he announced his skin cancer thing. I was like, he's just doing that's just like Ric Flair, doing this for attention, because he did that to Jim Ross when Jim Ross was like going in for cancer surgery, whatever, wish me luck, and he was like, that Jim Ross always looking to get attention. Like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you, man? So Ric Flair, not a good human being, but still, prayers up for Ric Flair. Don't want to see him go down that way. I did anecdotally. I had a good friend of mine who I actually went to SummerSlam with this last year. He and I, he went to some show. Oh, it was when he actually traveled with his brother to Sting's last show, because Sting is his favorite wrestler of all time. So he went to Sting's last match ever. It was, what was it, AEW Revolution, was it 2024? 23? Something, whatever. I don't know. I forget the date. Anyway, doesn't matter. But he traveled to go to that, and Ric Flair was there. Well, on his way back home, they stopped off for gas at a Sheetz. For those that don't know, Sheetz is like, it's a gas station, but they also have like fresh food and whatever, and soda fountains and slushies and whatever. It's a big place. Not quite as big as like a Buc-ee's, but whatever. I might be speaking a foreign language to people on the West Coast. I don't know. But anyway, it's Sheetz. And my buddy went in with his friend, or with his brother, excuse me, and Ric Flair was in there. And he could tell, like, Rick was getting, like, pissed off that the person behind the counter was waiting on people in line and not just instantly looking over their shoulder and being like, "You're Ric Flair, I should take care of you now." So Flair was already pissed off about that. And then my buddy went up and was like, later on, he's looking at something on the shelf, and he's like, "Hey, can I get a picture or an autograph or something?" And Ric Flair was like, "Nah," like basically told him to F off. And he's like, "Okay." He said, "Dude, Ric Flair was like the biggest a-hole ever." And he's like walking around like cussing and just talking to himself, looked like he was half in the bag. I believe it. Nobody has, like, hardly anybody has a positive "I met Ric Flair in the wild" story ever. Not a good dude. To another wrestling legend here, Georgia Smith, daughter of WWE legend the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, revealed on Instagram that a plaque reading "Heart House" was stolen from their home. The family is devastated and asking anyone with information to contact them or the Calgary police. If I am going out to any Canadians out there in the Calgary area, they should know the Hart House is like, that's where, all the Harts grew up. That was where Stu and Helen Hart lived. They had brick pillars on either side of their driveway at the front of the house, and there was a plaque that said Hart House that was there, connected to the pillars. Obviously, they don't have security there, which kind of sucks. You shouldn't have to, but somebody pried that damn thing off and took it. Like a-holes. It was probably another one of those freaks like the Liv Morgan stalker in the IWC that was like, "I'm going to take this because I'm a huge Hart fan. Because I'm such a huge Hart family fan, I'm going to steal from them something that's very valuable to them." What an absolute loser. So if anybody have any leads, please either contact the Hart family if you know how, via social media or whatever. Contact the police as well. The Calgary police would love to hear from you, I'm sure. Anyway, speaking of Sting's retirement here, Sting may be retired, but he's staying busy with his 2025 or Never tour of convention appearances, his final run in full costume. Oh, that's crazy. He's also focusing on real estate, enjoying family time, and letting his body heal after his AEW retirement match in March 2024. Okay, so it was 2024. What I was talking about earlier. Yeah, what is it with wrestlers getting into real estate, by the way? That's a big thing. Maybe it's because I think he lives in Florida, and hey, a lot of real estate to be had in Florida. I'll tell you, a lot of good real estate down there. So now's the time, man. I'm sure there's going to be more coming here soon. But Yeah, Sting. Has anybody seen him lately? He's like I've seen because I follow him on social media. He does like he'll post videos and stuff of his appearances at cons and whatever. He's let his hair go completely white. Still, it looks the same, and he combs it back, whatever. But he's grew out his beard, and it's all white now. And then he paints his face up. I'm like, whoa. I've never seen like I never got Sting's picture or autograph or anything. I did get his picture from afar because I went to they had a WrestleFest or not WrestleFest. What the hell? WrestleCon. They had a WrestleCon before SummerSlam 2023 in Detroit, and I went that was the last event I went to with Greg actually before he passed away, and the only person I could afford to meet was Kevin Nash because I was like I don't have enough to pay for all these people. Bret Hart had a line like out the damn door. Sting had a big line, but Kevin Nash had a decent sized line, but not as huge. And I've always been a big Nash mark. Always, since I was a little kid. He was one of my first favorites. So I jumped in line, got his autograph, two-sweeted him, all that good stuff. But I could see Sting and Bret, so I was like, from afar, I snapped their picture. I was like, this is as close as I'm ever going to get to Sting. So whatever. But it was cool to see him there. But yeah. So it says it's his last tour of the cons in full get up. So he's not going to paint himself up for these anyway. He's like, I'm tired of putting on this stupid paint. I'm just going to go as me, wearing the sunglasses. Cool, whatever. Yeah, because he didn't say he's never going to another con. He just said in full, like, get up. So his Sting T-shirt, his gloves, his paint, I guess, whatever. Somebody else who is, I guess, out of the business technically right now, Saraya, formerly Paige, says that she hasn't spoken to WWE about returning for Evolution and is enjoying a break from wrestling to focus on herself and new projects like her memoir and podcast. She has a podcast? Okay. Not everybody needs a memoir, by the way. And I know she had a movie about herself, so I don't know. It could be interesting, I guess. But she's open to a WWE return someday, but wants to find herself outside wrestling first. Yeah, I mean, she just went through a pretty public breakup. It didn't seem like a nasty one because they're still friends, but she went through a breakup with Ronnie Radke of, is it Falling in Reverse? Is that the band he's in now? I don't know. He was in Falling in Reverse. I don't know if that's the one he's in now. Not Robbie. Ronnie Radke band. Bleh, not age. Band. Escape the Fate. Okay, so he is in Falling in Reverse. He was in Escape the Fate. That is it. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so they went through a big breakup. It sucks because she made it clear she wanted to marry him and whatever. I think his whole deal was he didn't want to get married. He just wanted to play house, and she was not into that, so they broke up. I guess she just got tired of waiting. So I would like to see her back in WWE, but last time they wouldn't let her wrestle because she effed her neck up so bad during a match. But she's been wrestling for so long in AEW, maybe they'll lighten up on it a little bit. Because they also didn't want... Well, with Bryan Danielson, were they telling him to get out of the ring again? I can't even remember. Either way, yeah, so it's like I said, I'd like to see her back in WWE, but I don't know. She's still really young. I think she's younger than I am, right? Saraya Knight age? Oh God, wrong one. That's her mom. 32. Okay. Yeah, she's only 32. So she's still very young. If she keeps in good condition, she could have another run. Positive story here before, since we've done so many negative ones. Let's see. Maria Kanellis Bennett and her husband, Mike Bennett, announced that they're expecting their third child. Married for over a decade, they've already had 2 kids, Freddie and Carver. Mike wrestles for AEW/ROH and the Indies, while Maria, now a free agent, isn't focused on returning to wrestling for now, especially after overcoming a health scare last year. Yeah, just be a stay-at-home mom. You're not needed anymore. You did your thing. Good for you, but yeah, just focus on taking care of yourself and your kids. I think you'll do good. But yeah, good for them. Congrats and all that good stuff. These last 2 stories are pretty crazy stories out of MMA. One of them, I guess he was in MMA. He's a wrestler now, but Tom Lawler revealed that he may need a hip replacement and spinal surgery due to severe back issues causing nerve pain and leg atrophy, leaving his wrestling future uncertain. He hasn't wrestled for 6 weeks and says that he feels awful physically, but remains mentally strong while seeking multiple medical opinions. Filthy Tom Lawler. Yeah, that's crazy. Hip replacement and spinal surgery for Tom Lawler. Yeah, bro, if you got nerve pain and leg atrophy, yeah, I would say you need back surgery. Yikes. But a whole hip replacement? I don't think he's that old, man. The Undertaker just had hip replacement surgery. You hear about that in, older folks. And I know he's been through a lot. He's 42. Yeah, 42 is awfully young for hip replacement. So all the best to Tom Lawler, man. That's bad. But you want to hear, last story is even scarier. Former UFC star Ben Askren receives a double lung transplant after battling severe pneumonia from a staph infection. I didn't even know you could get a double lung transplant. That's crazy. His wife, Amy, shared the news, asking for prayers that his body accepts the new lungs. Yeah. Askren is showing signs of improvement, with other organs stable, but his family remains hopeful for his recovery. Yeah. Dude, of all the things you can get transplanted, not 1, 2 lungs. Greg and I have talked a lot of crap about Ben Askren and whether or not he is a good fighter in the past. As a human being, I had nothing against him. That's the thing. I always hear people that, if we say so and so sucked, we always get, how dare you talk crap about them? Like, dude, we just said they're not a good wrestler or not a good fighter. We're not talking crap. We're allowed to have opinions on somebody's talent. That's kind of how podcasts work, man. And I'm not saying, and I don't want to hear from the losers that are going to be like, well, you get in there and you do it. Like, that's not an argument. You can tell if somebody's good or not. I don't think he was ever good. But as a human being, you don't want to see somebody go through it. That's scary as hell. And really sucks. Prayers up for Ben Askren, bro. But that's all I got for the news. Yeah. Sorry, wife just texted me. Holy cow. No, I don't want... My phone's trying to listen to me as I talk too. She'll send me the stuff because we just bought a house, a very big house, not too long ago. And we moved from a house that's a third this size. So we're trying to fill up the rooms with furniture. And so every once in a while she'll send me stuff on Facebook. And she's like, are you from Facebook Marketplace? Because we're trying to get nice antique looking furniture, but that's also comfy. But she won't look to see where it is before she sends it to me. So I'm like, dude, that's a 2-hour drive to go get that. I'm not come on. Anyway, anyhoozle, let's get into Night of Champions, shall we? The event at hand. All right, let me get a sip here. We may be going to Sand Country on the podcast, but I'm going down south with some sweet tea. Staying hydrated. All right. Night of Champions 2025 took place June 28th, 2025, from the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The tagline, "The last time is now." They're just reusing that for every pay-per-view this year because of John Cena. But we open the show and introduce the English and Arab commentary teams. Then we go to our first match, starting right off with the King of the Ring finals. It is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes in this went for 19 minutes 45 seconds. This crowd was super hot for this show. They were singing along loudly to the themes, like they were. I don't just mean like they were physically hot because they were in the desert. This crowd was piping hot for this. They were into everything. Well, almost everything. But anyway, so this was a bit slower of a match than I expected it to be. This was, but it eventually picked up. But this was like old school Randy Orton. This is why I've never said I'm a fan of Randy Orton's, because his matches, he's had a lot of good ones, but man, he's also had a lot of formulaic, slow-ass, methodical matches that I just can't stand. And this was peak Orton doing that, for a while anyway. But Orton kicks out of a crossroads, and then Cody kicks out of an RKO. I'm tired of everybody bastardizing their finishers now. It's getting old. Cody avoids a punt kick. Cody kicks out of an RKO out of a Cody Cutter attempt. That was pretty cool. I don't know how I feel about him kicking out of that, though. Orton pulls off a top rope turnbuckle pad, and Cody shoves him into it chest first, hits the crossroads, and wins. I gave it 3 stars. Pretty good. I will say I didn't give anything above 3 stars on this show. There was some fun stuff, some decent matches, nothing above 3. CageMatch.net, however, because Uncle Dave did not... I've said before, it takes over a week for him to put out his star ratings, which is weird, but CageMatch.net is what I went with this. They gave it 3.5. When Orton leaves, the Raw and SmackDown general managers present Cody with the King of the Ring crown. Cody celebrates Randy Orton and Jey Uso, but then he says that he's ready to face either John Cena or CM Punk at SummerSlam and get his title back. And then they light off like a buttload of pyro, and, Hogan must pose, pal. It's becoming Cody must pose, pal. That's what it's come down to. There for a while, it was Roman must pose, but... All right, then next up, we get Raquel Rodriguez taking on Rhea Ripley in a Riyadh Boulevard street fight. Greg and I used to joke about that. They would always... Everything was always insert name here street fight. Like, what was the one they had? They had one in TNA. It was like the Bronx street fight or Brooklyn street fight or so. I don't even remember now. Taking place in Orlando, Florida, by the way. That was the funniest part. But this one went for 14 minutes. We get the first women must cover every inch of themselves match of the night. So there's that. When Rhea gets the upper hand, Roxanne Perez runs out to save Raquel. Rhea takes her out by putting a trash can over her head and then kicking it. Raquel sets a table up on the top rope of the corner, but Rhea takes advantage. They climb up onto the table, and Rhea hits the Riptide off the table to Raquel for the win. Yet again, I gave it 3 stars, and CageMatch.net gave it 3.5. So... by the way, I'm like kind of rounding up with Cage Match. They do like numbers. They do this point whatever for their match rating systems. I'm translating it into stars out of 5. So, but yeah, it was a good match. Even the interference of Roxanne, I didn't think interfered too much with it. With the quality of the match, it was good all the way around. I had fun with it. I don't know. I did not hate this match at all. Normally, I don't get that into street fights anymore. I don't know what it is. Like, as an adult, I'm like, Like, it has to be really good. And And I will say, some of them have hooked me. It's been good enough. It's hooked me and brought me in. And it's not that I don't like stipulations on matches as an adult. I like some. But there are some I feel have been just like played out. But this was good. I enjoyed it. And maybe it's because it's between the women, like the two biggest women on the, well, two of the biggest women on the roster, size-wise. I didn't have a problem with it. But we now get a commercial for WWE Evolution 2. Yay. And then we go to this. I have some opinions on this one. It is Karrion Kross with Scarlett taking on Sami Zayn. It goes 13 and a half minutes. Sami Zayn comes out looking like a Free Palestine protester. He's got the keffiyeh on. He's got the white, red, and green, all that. Just, really pushing it. But after dominating Zayn for a while and almost choking him out, Sami gets a haluva kick out of nowhere and pins Kross. Kross continues to be overlooked and underpushed. Both CageMatch.net and I gave it 2.5 stars for average. I thought Kross looked great in this. Sami looked fine. I don't know, like, I feel like they put Sami over because they were in Saudi, and Sami is a Muslim. So they were trying to get that going. I don't know. I think isn't he Syrian? Like, he's part Syrian or whatever, which is not the same as Saudi Arabian, but, they're all Arab, I guess. They're all from the Persian Empire. But still, I don't know. I feel like they're, like, forcing Sami at a time when it doesn't feel organic. Like, there for a while, people wanted Sami Zayn. They were like, give us Sami. Sami Zayn is, like, doing great stuff. He's doing the underdog thing again, and we're really into it. Every once in a while, the fans get behind him. Now is not one of those times. And now, like, people are like, dude, is he going to win the Royal Rumble? Because it's going to be in Riyadh. I don't know. I feel like it's forced and at the expense of Karrion Kross. Like, what was the point of all the stuff they've been doing with Kross? Does it have a point, or was it just to get Sami over? Because that feels cheap. I don't know. I feel like Kross is he needs something. He needs to be pushed. His stuff in the ring has been improving. He's got a great look, great gimmick. He's got Scarlett with him. There you go. I don't know. I just feel like now is the time for Kross, not for Sami. But nope, they're like, nah, we're going to kill this feud dead. Sami beats him, moving on. Whatever. Legado del Fantasma are shown in the crowd with the AAA tag team titles. And then we get a promo for Royal Rumble 2026, which will also be held in Riyadh. Cool. I didn't think about this till just now. Like, they showed Legado del Fantasma in the crowd. They showed, the Street Profits in the crowd. They showed Tiffany Stratton in the crowd. So they literally flew them halfway across the world to Saudi Arabia to sit in the crowd just for, like, a one shot on TV. I'd have been like, nah, I'm good. I'll go home. I don't think you need to, like, if you had a choice, obviously, some of these people can't say no because they're not asked, they're told. But I would have just been like, no, I'm good. Spend a week in Saudi Arabia just to have like a 5-second shot on camera, or hang out at home on vacation. I think I'll pick home. Yeah, I don't need to fly to the desert. I don't know. Either way. Up next is a decent match, and I do mean decent. It was Jacob Fatu defending the WWE United States title against Solo Sikoa. It went 12 minutes, 5 seconds. Solo hits a cheap shot to start the match. JC Mateo ends up running down to distract the referee at one point, while Tonga Loa comes in and takes Jacob down. Fatu ends up putting Solo down and then hitting a Fosbury flop on Mateo and Tonga Loa. Apparently, Tonga Loa is less hurt than Tama Tonga. But Mateo gets in and Fatu takes him out again before hitting the triple jump moonsault on Solo Sikoa. but a large Samoan, who turns out to be Hikuleo, pulls Jacob out of the ring. Michael Cole says that it's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's brother, which he is. He drops Jacob Fatu on the announce table, throws him into the ring. Solo Sikoa hits the Samoan spike on Jacob and wins the U.S. title. Yay. I gave it just 2 stars, slightly below average. It wasn't great. It accomplished what it needed to accomplish, I guess. Solo Sikoa as the U.S. champ, I'm like, I don't know. They just keep finding new Samoans to add to this storyline, and it's getting old, I guess. It just, I don't care as much anymore. Cage Match gave it 2.5 stars. We'll talk about what his new name is at the end of the show here, but he was Hikuleo, and they even introduced him at, he came out, he was on a main event, like the main event, you know, in the, like, they film earlier in the week, and they put it online, I think. He showed up there as Hikuleo, so they've changed his name since then. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the pod. Anyway, we're now showing a hype video for next Saturday night's main event. Tiffany Stratton is shown in the crowd. This is her 5 seconds on camera. You know, fly to the desert and put on a bodysuit for that. Up next, it is Asuka versus Jade Cargill in the Queen of the Ring Finals. Goes 8.5 minutes. Jade was dressed like Storm from the X-Men and actually came out with snow dropping on her. That was pretty cool. Asuka whooped her ass throughout the entire match. She hits Jaded out of nowhere and wins. I gave it 1.5 stars. This sucked. Cage Match gave it 2 stars. And I agree. I've agreed with people online saying she doesn't need to be great. She doesn't need to have long matches, but don't put her in situations where, like, don't put her in a situation, one, where she looks like she does, and then she's getting her ass beat for, like, 10 minutes, and then she hits one move and wins. That's pretty lame. But also don't put her in long-ass matches. She's not good enough for that. She'll never be, I've accepted it at this point, she'll never be good enough for that. Just put her in, I don't know, like Goldberg can't be in long-ass matches either. They work around it. I'm not saying she needs to be in squash matches, but like 5 minutes and under, you know? Figure out what she does well, have her do that, and only that. Jade Cargill will never improve to be a person who can have a long, good match, ever. That's just not who she is. She looks great. She can cut a decent promo. She's got a presence about her. Use that. I don't know what to tell you. She's got a good pump kick, and the Jaded looks fine. But after the match, the general managers of Raw and SmackDown present Jade with the Queen of the Ring crown. Byron Saxton asks her for comments, and she talks about being happy to be there and says that she's coming for the women's title at SummerSlam. Yeah. And now we have made it to the main event, and I have a lot of notes on this one because, like I said, Attitude Era finishes are back, baby. We kind of sort of had that with the Samoans match for the U.S. title, and now we've got it here. So it is the main event. It is for the WWE Undisputed title. Champion John Cena defends against CM Punk. This goes 26 minutes, 15 seconds. This was nowhere near the quality of their 2011 match. I'll say that. So Punk is wearing the same attire that he wore at Money in the Bank 2011 when he beat John Cena for the WWE title and then left and blew a kiss and all that. And obviously he came back, but I have a figure of him wearing that. A Mattel figure, not a Jax figure. But they traded submissions for a while. Punk kicks out of 2 attitude adjustments. I hate that John Cena is now using that move like he would use a body slam. Like, just, he spams the AA throughout every match now. He hits it like Kenny Omega hits the V trigger. It's ridiculous. But Cena goes for a super AA. Punk shoves him down and dives onto Cena, but Cena catches him, and it's a third AA for a near fall. Cena gets the WWE title to hit Punk, but thinks better of it, and he tosses it aside for a cheer. And then he eats a GTS from Punk for a near fall. So he's sort of kind of starting to come around to be a babyface again. I guess, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, Cena accidentally tackles the ref. Punk hits another GTS, but there's no one to count the fall. Seth Rollins, looking like Kane's leg, comes out from the crew with his crew, who still doesn't have a name, by the way. And he sicks Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker onto Punk. Punk fights valiantly, but they eventually put him through the announcer table. It's they F up a couple of times. Like, Punk almost falls on his head at one point, and then Bronson barely gets him up to put him through the announce table. It was ugly. But either way, Cena hits an AA, or did I skip anything here? Okay, here we go. Rollins calls down referee Charles Robinson, who runs a damn mile. Anybody remember that famous clip of him? I can't remember what WrestleMania it was. He just, like, freaking books it, and it's like the longest ramp of all time. It looked like a replay of that. But he comes running his ass down until Cena decks him. Just takes little Nate out, baby. Let's see, I lost my spot. Rollins and Reed jump him now. Penta randomly comes out. Apparently nobody knows why he was there. I saw it online. Everybody's like, bro, why is Penta here? But he's doing his slow motion dance to his little walk thing, his little Scott Hall walk. He's doing that, and everybody's like, are you coming in for the save? Like, what are you doing? It's like, it's almost like, does anybody remember when Jeff Hardy debuted in AEW? His music hits, and he's running out to save his brother who's getting his ass kicked, and on the way down, he's got to do his little jig, like, out to the crowd, and everybody was like, bro, are you saving your brother or dancing? Anyway, but yeah, Penta comes out doing a stupid little walk, and then Braun Breaker says, F it, and he rushes up the ramp to beat on him. Sami Zayn now comes out to brawl with Braun Breaker until Penta dives off the stage onto them. Bronson Reed is about to hit the tsunami on John Cena, but CM Punk shoves him off the top rope, and Cena hits Reed with the AA. That's a biggin. Cena and Punk hug. Cena goes to kick Punk in the crotch, but it's caught. Punk goes for the GTS, but Rollins blasts him in the head with the Money in the Bank briefcase and gets stomped. Cena tosses Rollins out of the ring, pins CM Punk, and hightails it with the WWE title. Lots of shenanigans, lots of run-ins, lots of craziness. Hard to keep up. CageMatch.net and I were both on the same level with this. We gave it a 3. 3 stars. It was mid. Or slightly above mid, I should say. So, yeah, I don't know. This was the epitome of an Attitude Era finish, in my opinion. And I made this point to a friend of mine. I said, John Cena has become Hollywood Hogan. If nobody remembers, and yeah, he's not quite like Hollywood Hogan, where he doesn't have his own crew of heels, but he doesn't wrestle well anymore. He's slow. He has not had any good quality matches since he came back for this run. Like, none. And he just doesn't have it anymore, and I think he knows that. But he always wins. There's always a ton of shenanigans. He doesn't do a whole lot. He cheats, and then he wins, and he leaves. Like, that's every John Cena match now. Which I guess that's all it needs to be, whatever. But he's Hollywood Hogan. So, I don't know. But Seth Rollins contemplates going back into the ring to beat up CM Punk again, but he thinks better of it, and he leaves with his crew, who really needs an effing name. Like, the Dangerous Alliance. Like, just pull that trigger, man. Just call them the Dangerous Alliance. Just do it. F it. But WWE has officially renamed Hikuleo as Tala Tonga. He's not Shorter Tonga. He's Tala Tonga. You know what I mean? But it was revealed during the Night of Champions post-show. Tala helped Solo Sikoa win the U.S. title by interfering alongside JC Mateo and the returning Tonga Loa in a match against Jacob Fatu. Though signed since mid-2023, Tala only recently returned to WWE programming after a long hiatus. Yeah, crazy how long he's been signed for like 2 damn years and hasn't done a damn thing until now. Hopefully he's been getting some WWE PC work in there. Is it still called the Performance Center? Hopefully he's been getting some work in down there and been improving. I'm sure he has. But yeah, I don't know. Here's another question I have for everybody. Because I said I was kind of sick and tired of the Samoan thing. I just don't care anymore. I'm like not totally checked out, but I'm mostly checked out at this point. Is it just me, or have they lost their aura? Like, there's still a bit. Not Jacob. Jacob Fatu is like the only one that I see it. And Jacob and I guess Jay, the Jay, Roman, Jacob. Those are the 3 I think still have their aura. Solo's not great, but he's got like a little bit of like it's like a car running on fumes, where it's like the bloodline being in the bloodline as long as he was filled him up, and I guess technically he's got his bloodline, whatever. But being in the original bloodline kind of filled his tank up a bit to where it's like he's got some credibility, and he's like still coasting off the original bloodline fumes. He's got a tiny bit of aura to him. Like, he's got some credibility. I just don't. I do not give a damn about Solo Sikoa. I just never have, and I never will. To me, he's WWE's answer to Bad Luck Fale. And I always thought Fale was like, you're the muscle of the Bullet Club. When they pushed him to the main event, I was like, I don't care. Like, you're cool, and you got some credibility as a tough guy, but I don't give a damn. But the rest of the crew, Jeff Cobb is great. He, there for a while, had aura. When he showed up someplace, it was like, oh, damn, like, this guy's going to kick some ass. When he shows up as JC Mateo in WWE as just another Samoan, he's not even, is he? Yeah, I guess he's Samoan by blood. Who cares? Tonga Loa, who cares? Hikaleo or Tala Tonga, whatever now. Who cares? None of them have aura about them at all. Jacob Fatu, I think, is a damn star. He's always been a star. He should have been in WWE years ago. But he's showing them all why he should have been there years ago, which is exactly what he should be doing. But the rest of them, man, I do not care. And yes, to anybody who heard the list I laid out, I left off Jimmy Uso. I used to really like Jimmy. I don't think anybody gives a damn. He's like the other Uso now. He's not main event Jay, so whatever. And the IWC loves to crap on Jay. Oh my God, it's such a like. I like how they were like, oh, I bet WWE really regrets him winning the Royal Rumble. And then they have him win the title at WrestleMania. And they're like, oh, what a bad decision putting the title on him. Like, F off, man. Like, he's getting bigger reactions than damn near anybody. He's selling tons of merchandise. Yeah, terrible decision to put a guy that's insanely over as your world champion. Like, no matter what your opinions on his abilities are or his gimmick or whatever, to say that he's not over and he's not moving merchandise is insane and just denying reality outright. But that's my rant on the Samoans anyway. But getting to the final ratings here. Final ratings time. Internet Movie Database gave this 6.5 out of 10. CageMatch.net hated it. 5.51 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was fine. It was acceptable. It felt like it should have been bigger. They acted like it was bigger. It didn't feel bigger to me. I don't know. Like, the stage was cool. The presentation was cool. They had some big matches. Nothing was great. I don't know. I just felt meh. It's hard to describe. It was just meh. It was not a great it was not a great show all the way around. It was fine. I did not regret watching the show. I'll say that. It served the purpose of Night of Champions, I guess. But I do kind of miss, somebody else brought this up, kind of wish more titles were defended, considering it's called Night of Champions. That was the whole point of the show to begin with when they first created it. I don't know. But anyway, that does it for me. That does it for the podcast and the show. I'm thinking next week, because there's not anything coming up this weekend. Next weekend, I might review a real old school, because we got a lot of current coming up. Like I said, next week, I'm probably going to put the pod on hiatus come August. So this is like my last hurrah before, I start doing like pre-recorded stuff for the pod and whatever, and not streaming every week. July is kind of it. But with that being said, and I'll stream when I can. I'll say that. But with that being said, I want to do some fun stuff for the month. Next week, I kind of want to switch it up. I was thinking about reviewing like a mid-90s All Japan show from the Tokyo Dome. Might be fun. I've found a couple on YouTube. They got the full show, so I might review them, and we'll talk about them, because I haven't really reviewed any stuff out of Japan. I've never reviewed an All Japan show ever, so it's different. And then the week after that, obviously we got a lot coming up. We got, like I mentioned, I'll talk about what happened in NXT, Great American Bash. I'll probably talk about what happened at Ring of Honor. I forget what the damn show was now. I closed the window. But then we got All In. We got Saturday night's main event. We got Evolution 2. Lots of big stuff. I'll review it all in 2 weeks. That is the big show. Well, and we'll review that all in 2 weeks. But next week, I will try to find a good All Japan Tokyo Dome show to review. Thank you all for checking us out today. If you want to follow me on social media, you can see up at the top of the screen, I got my social media stuff on either side. On X and Instagram is where I'm most active. I'm at Marks_on_media. On Facebook, I'm less active, but I still will respond to you on there. It's Marks on Media Tube. If you're watching on YouTube, please give please subscribe and give a like to the video, comment on the video and all that. Share it around. Tell everybody about the show. That would be really appreciated. You can also watch all the archives on YouTube as well. But I am at Marks on Media if you want to follow me on YouTube, and you're not. If you want to follow me on, on Rumble, I keep forgetting to fix that on the bottom of the screen. I do have 2 channels on Rumble. One is rumble.com/C/Marks on Media, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. That's all my Marks on Media content. But if you want specifically the main event Marks stuff, it's rumble.com/C/main event Marks. I have all of that on there. I need to work on getting all the archives up there. I stopped for a while because I'm posting brand new podcasts every week. I'm streaming every single week on Rumble. And thank you to all my Rumble viewers. Please follow both of the channels on there and leave a like. Join the show and all that. I really appreciate all my followers on there. And I will talk to you wherever you send a comment or a DM or whatever. I would appreciate it. I'm going to go try to loosen up my neck muscles and get rid of this massive migraine I have going on. Nothing is helping. I think I'm just going to lay in ice all night. So wish me luck, and happy 4th of July, everybody. That's coming up. If you're not from America, screw you. No, I'm kidding. But if you are in America, I hope you have a good, safe weekend. Come back next week with all your fingers and toes and no singed skin, no serious injuries, and don't injure anybody else. Have a good, safe, fun time. Light off some fireworks, watch some fireworks, grill out. I'm going to do all of that at the campground. Going to have a fun American time. My freedom will intensify this weekend. And we will see you all